hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we grow again. It is a fantabulous Thursday as I'm recording, but I'm going to be sharing Thursday night's live session from the new social audio app Clubhouse that we recorded last night, and it was really, really fun. It was first like Podcaster's Paradise because I had, Erica was there with me, and then I had Heath Cummings, longtime P-head and friend. He runs the Live This Life podcast. He showed up, and Jeremy Abramson, the Thrive University podcast host, Karen, my partner Karen, was there, and she does a very specialized podcast called Shit SLP Say, which is for speech language pathologists. So if any of you are doing that, definitely check that out. So there's a bunch of podcasters. It started off really interesting because the title of the event was Abundance and Manifestation Q&A. And a gentleman came in, very nice guy, and he instantly, as soon as we kicked off the room, he started talking about, abundance and manifestation being like sort of buzzwords with a negative connotation from his perspective. And it was great because it opened up a great, thread of exploration and talking about all of that sort of thing. And then it just continued to get better and better. It was so fun. I mean, as we were winding down, then yet another podcaster, my friend Shaman Durek, jumped in, who runs Ancient Wisdom Today podcast. And he always has like a big entourage. And so, I mean, at one point there was up to 200 people in the room. So it was definitely the biggest one that we've had. And he started doing a live healing on this woman who had a profound impact on her. So it was cool. It went quite a bit longer than normal. And so I'm going to just jump now. I wanted to give you guys a little context and heads up and invite you all to come and join us next Thursday. It's such an awesome thing for me and Erica and everyone else to be able to connect with you guys, and you can ask questions or just share your own, share your own perspectives. And then of course you'll be on the show on Friday. So for now you have to have, it's iOS only. So you have to have an iPhone to get on. I think they're going to be changing that, but they're still growing, and that's how they started. And you also need you have to be invited. Once again, they didn't want it to be overwhelmed and too many people, I think, starting. So you can email us through positivehead.com if you need an invite. We may have one for you. And other than that, just put it on your calendars. You can, in the show notes, you'll see where you can add it to your calendar for next Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific. And otherwise, I'm going to jump and let you guys check it out from last night's recording. Till next week, journey well.
All right. Well, I think let's get started with just doing a quick little intro. We'll all just go down and name the people on the stage, and if more people join, we'll get their intros as well. And then from there, we'll kind of jump in with a question or anything that's popping up and see where it leads us. So, Brandon, I know most people know you here, but why don't you just give us a high level of who you are?
Well, my name is Brandon Beecham, and I sort of originally inspired doing this on Thursday night. Daryl, welcome, buddy. Come up on stage if you would like. I'd love to hear from you. And where was I? Yeah, Brandon Beecham. I host the Positive Head podcast, and I've wanted to mix it up with listeners and do more live Q&A stuff for quite some time. And as soon as Clubhouse launched, I was like, this is the perfect place to do that. And here we are. So, and I don't want it to just be me talking. I want to hear from other people and really anything that's bubbling up that people would like to talk about.
Yay, thank you, Brandon. All right, Erica, can you give me an intro?
Hi, everybody. My name is Erica Middlemiss, and I co-host the Positive Head podcast with Brandon. And I'm really happy to be here, too. Clubhouse is really fun. I'm really enjoying it. I'm a naturopathic physician, and I also mostly practice Dolores Cannon's technique of quantum healing hypnosis for healing. So that's it.
Very cool. I didn't know that, Erica. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's not it, but that is some of it.
Some of it. That's it in a nutshell. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, and I'll introduce myself. I'm Karen. I'm Brandon Beecham's partner, or partner in time, as we like to say. I am a speech language pathologist. I just got my master's, and fortunately for Brandon and I am waiting for my license to get approved. So I've been assisting quite a bit with his most recent project, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance, which is his new book, which is also part of the spark of why we created this group. And a lot of the topics that we'll probably touch on today are things that are in the book. So if you haven't seen it, or if you don't know about it yet, if you go to goldenkey.gift, that's where you can learn a lot more about it. All right. Oh, Brandon, you want to say something?
Oh, and you can download the book, audio or ebook, with the code Clubhouse, just FYI.
That's right. All right. And then next up, we're very excited to have Jeremy joining us today. Can you give us a little intro?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. My name's Jeremy Abramson. I am currently in the Bay Area, but really bounce between California, Miami, everywhere. And really my mission is to empower and inspire heart-led leaders. Really the people that I've been working with as of late, the last few years, are high-level athletes, executives, entrepreneurs who have achieved a level of financial success, but in doing so, they have neglected their health, their relationships, and I really help them create that alignment and true fulfillment in their life. And, I'm happy just to answer any questions here. I'm also the host of the Thrive University podcast, which Brandon was just a guest on, and, really passionate lately to the last 18 months or so about medicinal mushrooms, microdosing. I've just seen what in my family member's life and my client's life. So, happy to answer any questions. This is just an open forum. So I'm super grateful for Brandon allowing me to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeremy. It sounds like you have so much to add to the conversation, so I'm excited to hear from you. Okay, next up, I have, sorry if I pronounce this wrong, Arjuna? Am I pronouncing it wrong? Are you there?
No, I think you got it right, Arjuna. He may have stepped away from his device.
All right, then we'll come back to you if you're there. Then we have Heath. Heath, you want to give us a little short intro?
Absolutely. I'm going to say I'm a student of Brandon's. I'm a huge fan of the Positive Head podcast. So thank you, Eric and Brandon, for everything that you do. I am the host of my own podcast now, Live This Life podcast, and it actually wouldn't exist if on a phone call a couple years ago, Brandon didn't say to me, you know what, you should start a podcast. And the thought of it actually terrified the living life out of me. So that's why I had to do it. But yeah, when I crossed paths with Brandon a few years back, I was a very unfulfilled, very stressed out and miserable person in law enforcement. I've been there for 18 years. And with Brandon's inspiration on just kind of moving in a bunch of different directions in my life, I've left that career path and moved into politics to change a lot of the stuff that I saw that I didn't like. So doing a whole bunch of different things, life coaching, the podcast, politics, whatever bubbles up. But wouldn't be here if it wasn't for some of the people on this stage's influence. So thank you all.
That's so awesome. It just makes me so happy. And I'm so ready to come on the podcast, by the way. Just a little nudge.
Yeah, I've had so many interviews lined up, and I kind of want to make sure that I was worthy of having you on there and ready for having a star shine as bright as you on there. So I will hook up with you because I'm at that point where I've got to get you on there. We got to talk about this book too. So definitely something very soon we'll hook up.
You are a very, very bright star yourself. We all are. That's the thing. You know this though. So, but thank you for you always just make me so happy every time. You just are just so gracious, and you're amazing. Thank you.
Likewise, man.
Oh, so sweet, guys. Heath, you're not the first person who I've heard, Brandon told me this one thing and then I did something and completely changed the trajectory of my life and ended up unlocking all this stuff. So
It
I love
seems
it.
to be a common theme with this man.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be a pattern. A good one. Okay, and then last up on the stage, we have Daryl. Can you give us a quick little intro?
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. Brandon, good to see you and hear you as always. I'm very grateful. I was just happened to be by my phone and Brandon pinged me into the conversation. So stoked to be able to step in. I am a multifaceted individual, but my main focus right now is really focusing on supporting creatives to recover their creative spark. I worked in the photography industry for over 15 years and got burnt out and really soul crushed. And so the last several years has been a big exploration on how to get back that. And that's actually how I ended up meeting Brandon. I met his son in Costa Rica at a retreat. And then, Brandon, can't remember, were you actually at that retreat?
No, I was there the year before. And then that was his first outing, as a big boy.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So totally met and connected with his son and had a great time. And then living in LA, had a lot of friends who were circling around the Mystic Manor and ended up going over there and getting connected with the whole community and the vibe, and just absolutely loved it, and have been fortunate enough to spend time with some of the people he's had on the Positive Head podcast. And just my life has been an exploration of love, of soul, of self-discovery, and so I'm just grateful to be here and to be able to share anything that could support the listeners.
Awesome. Thank you, Daryl. Well, we're so grateful to have you here. We're so grateful to have everyone here. I've seen some more people pop into the audience. So just so you guys know, this is a completely open forum. We want everybody to come up and be able to share and chat if they want to. So if you just popped in the audience and you want to join us here on stage, just raise your hand to let us know and we will let you up. But having said that, let's dive into the conversation. So I want to open it up to just everyone on stage. The title is Keys to Abundance and Manifestation Q&A. So anything that pops into your mind when you hear that you'd love to discuss or just get into a little bit deeper, just feel free to take off your mic and jump in.
Heath, you go first.
Okay. I'm going to say for me, one of the biggest shifts that I had was the art of allowing, because I had kind of realized that nothing major shifted in my life before all these different things took a completely different trajectory. It was just the matter of me allowing things to happen. And I was pretty much cutting myself off. I was beating the drum of how unhappy I was. And that was constantly the story I was telling. It was like, why can't I get out of this trajectory? And really it was like I said, on Brandon's advice, to tell a different story, no matter what it is, love where you're at and just allow those things to come to you. And eventually, it was an unbelievable turnaround, but it's been the same script that I've given to other people, and I've heard the same results come from so many different people, where they just, all of a sudden, I didn't cut myself off anymore. I didn't keep on saying, when bad things happen, when the bad luck happened, oh, that's my luck, because I was just confirming those things over and over again. So I think the art of allowing just that abundance to come into your life is probably one of the biggest keys that it's been for me and so many other people that I've crossed paths with.
I love it. Ding, ding, ding. You guessed one of the keys to abundance. one of the keys to abundance. There are 8 keys in the book, and one of them is love what comes. So you definitely cued into that one.
after I basically made him hear me say it over and over again on like 1,000 episodes. But yeah, you're so, I mean, it's so true. What, as I like to always say, the results that these approaches get speak loudest, because we can all theorize and everyone's got ideas and we can throw out there, but when you apply this willingness to sort of trust the universe, trust the mystery, and tell the story that I am so worthy of having something that is fulfilling, that is, in your case, because I know your story very well, it's like, you're in law enforcement and doing this thing that at one time actually did serve your growth and was more aligned. And it's just like anything over time, we are such complex, ever evolving beings. And then we get stuck in these habits where we think, okay, because this thing was for me 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and I'm in the habit of doing it, then I must continue. And really, we have to be very resilient and flexible as the complex spirits that we are. And Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this with breaking the habit of being yourself, how important it is to be, fluid and flexible, because the stiffer we are and the more we cling to something that is really an old narrative, tied to an old version of ourselves. It's like, you guys have probably seen this meme, like, if you knew me 3 years ago, it's time, or 3 months ago, or whatever, it's time, that person's gone. It's time for you to be reintroduced to who I am, because we're constantly just shedding these layers of ourselves and expanding into the next greatest and grandest version. And it's not only is that happening, but for those of us on the path of, actually, out of all the things vying for our attention on a Thursday evening, we would be in a Clubhouse chat talking about abundance and manifestation and these things. We're on the fast track. Every one of you guys listening, you're on the fast track. So be flexible, be fluid. You can have ideas about where you're going, but loosely, and then allow it to be unveiled in divine timing. And I think that's what Heath has gotten really good at doing, and it's been so inspiring to watch your journey.
Thank you. Like I said, I wouldn't be there if it wasn't for all that influence. And I mean, I even look back on it and just think about the dramatic changes that have happened. And I wish I could have just gone back to myself at a certain point and just been like, relax, it's going to get better. It's going to be okay. And I think that's been my motivation to get out there and try and spread that same word. The words that you gave me was just that result that came from it, and the solace in knowing that was going to come. And everybody needs to understand that. Like, if you just adopt these different mindsets, all the things that you're saying that are your trappings, the things that you want to change, they will happen. It happens. I'm not the only one. There's hundreds, thousands of people that have the same exact type of storyline.
I love it. Is it cool, Daryl, is it cool if I chime in?
Yeah, go for it. I'll jump on after you. I wanted to piggyback off of something.
Okay, beautiful, brother. Yeah, one of the things that I think was really big for me during this last year was I was definitely someone who had shiny object syndrome. Like, I would try and take on too many projects at once, serve too many people. And one of my mentors just said, like, dude, you're not going to be able to make the impact you want by constantly taking on more things. So one of the big things for me has just been asking myself, where am I leaking energy right now? And whether that's in a relationship, whether that is with a habit that no longer serves me. And like Brandon was saying, maybe it's dwelling on a story that is part of our old identity that we just need to shed and let go of. So, for me, it's been honestly like doing less and really just focusing on embodying and embodiment. And I think, this is something I really encourage the people I work with too. It's like, so much of the stuff that occupies our mind is really meaningless. And if we boil it down to like the things that actually move the needle and matter and contribute towards our levels of fulfillment, joy, success, it's really more simple than we like to make it seem. So yeah, I encourage everyone, if you want to ask yourself, like, where are you leaking energy, and I think we all have areas where we are leaking. And it's just about bringing awareness to those areas and then taking action on it.
Hello, everybody. I'm so sorry. Just as it was my turn to get introduced, my phone rang. So, but I'm back with you now.
Oh, geez. No worry. Go ahead and give us a little intro. And then Daryl's been wanting to pop in and say something. So go ahead and give us an intro and then we'll jump to Daryl.
Which kind of intro would you like? Just give me a ballpark.
Just a quick little brief, who you are, what you love, and whatever else you want people to know about you.
Okay, cool. Well, my name's Arjuna Arda, and I've written 15 books, but the latest of one is called Radical Brilliance. And the subtitle is How and Why People Have Original Ideas Which Change the World. And I'm really primarily interested in contribution. I'm interested in people who have the desire and the means to really ratchet up the game for everybody. So I used to have a coaching school. I trained 2,000 coaches, but now I just work with individuals. I work with like 8 or 10 people a year, and it's always about their contribution. I'm not really working with people in a personal way, like, for them to make money or improve their lives or become more famous or, play the Amazon game or something. I'm purely working with people who want to change the game for all of us and create a sustainable future. And it's kind of funny. I bumped into this room because I wanted to get to know Brandon, but it's sort of ironic that I'm in an abundance and manifestation room because those are not my values. So I guess either I should leave or we should be prepared for a hot debate.
Well, don't you dare leave.
Yes, and well, actually, I think you should stay because I think you will find that perhaps what you think of as abundance and manifestation is actually not quite what we're speaking about, and I think perhaps we are aligned. So I think if you stick around, you'll be quite pleased.
Yeah, I guess it's more like I take issue with generally take issue with the people who use those buzzwords. But if you're using them in a different way, then I'm ready to have fun.
Oof, I love it. Awesome.
I love it.
Daryl, I'd love to hear a little bit from you, what you've been holding on to, share with us, and then we can maybe come back around to that topic.
Sure thing. I mean, I'm holding on to a lot over here. I love hearing what Arjuna had to say because I also can take issue with the terms abundance and manifestation as being buzzwords, but we'll get into that in a minute because I think this is going to be an interesting conversation. But what I really was just kind of burning to say, which is something that I learned along the way of my own journey that I think Heath and Brandon and Jeremy are all pointing to, is some of this stuff is about simplicity. And it's about backing up, taking time, and really doing the things that are really important for us to feel grounded in the moment. And remember that it takes time. Like some of my biggest transformations and the way my life is today has come out of these small incremental changes. And our mind, is particularly our subconscious mind, where a lot of our behavior is driven from, is like a dog. And it takes time to train it. It takes time. So the more you feed it the same messages over and over and over again, whether that message is, I can't do this, this is really hard, I suck at this, or it's, I'm going to get to this, I can do this, no matter what happens, I'm going to keep going. Either way, those messages will get through eventually, and they will alter our actions and where our actions come from. And I think there's a real, like, that for me over time, because I could go really deep on my own story, but let's just say I've faced some pretty strong difficulties in my life, and I'm deeply blessed to even just be on this stage with you all right now. It is a huge blessing for me because, my background, this wasn't predictable. And to have the fortitude for us to move forward, to have growth, just like Brandon said, you're on the fast track, and the fast track means you're just really focusing on your development and what needs to happen and the habits that need to be put in place in order for us to be our best. And I think the more we can do those on the daily, the more we remind ourselves of who we are, the more for me, it's the more abundant I feel. And for me, abundance is a feeling. It's not even just about what I have in my life. And I have wonderful gifts in my life. I'm blessed to live in a nice home in Los Angeles, but those are all a reflection for me of my internal state. And I think the more we can reflect upon each other and reflect on ourselves and feel good about ourselves, that's how things manifest into our lives. And manifestation is just the it happening in real life to me. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. I know there's a lot of other stuff to be talked about. This is Daryl, and I'm done speaking.
I love it. Perfect. Ding, ding, ding. He got more of the keys to abundance. That's definitely more in line with the type of abundance that Brandon is speaking of. So when we say abundance and manifestation. So I want to open this up to now everybody here on the stage or anyone who's popped in. If you just joined us and are listening, this is an open forum. Please raise your hand and jump up and we can talk too. But let's open this up to everybody. The idea of abundance and manifestation being used as buzzwords and how you would like to kind of reframe those words in a way that makes more sense and feels better to you.
Yeah, I would love to speak to this for a moment as well. So I really appreciate Arjuna and Daryl's, comments and what they added. And it's really with my book, The Golden Key. I started out thinking, look, you may think this is a book that's going to talk to you about, how to invest in cryptocurrency or switch to Geico and save $300 a month and a year, or whatever. It's like wealth is just a reflection, as Daryl said. Monetary wealth, a lot of times it's tied to abundance. So that's the reason I went the route of writing a book on this topic, because there can be such misconceptions that it's this thing external that we get of ourselves, when really my whole way of looking at abundance is our birthright. It's what we are. We are tied to the abundant energy that creates and animates all things. So that is it's not there is no out there to go and collect these things. They come as a reflection of you remembering who and what you actually are. And that's really for me the path that has led to beautiful reflections, as Daryl spoke to, of abundance in my own life, that they could go away, those beautiful reflections, and I don't feel less abundant in my heart and core. It's like my worth is not tied to these things. And I think that's the thing that happens oftentimes with people who sort of have it twisted, is now if their followers went away, they're not abundant anymore. If their money went away, they're not abundant anymore. And really what we're seeking to tap into is something that is just that self-love, and knowing that, hey, I am one with all things. And even if everything is stripped away on a physical level, you can't touch who and what I actually am. What we are at our core is untouchable. And I can love myself there. And I actually trust that if things were taken away, let's say physical possessions or what have you, that's actually a gift happening for me in some way, shape, or form, to only make me more abundant ultimately, and in more of myself, leading me to have more of myself uncovered.
Okay.
That's
Shall I jump in?
Yes, please respond.
Please.
Yeah. So basically, oops. Why is there music playing? Hang on a second. Okay, sorry. So yeah, basically, here's really why here's why I feel abundance and manifestation have become unhealthy buzzwords. It feels to me that we're all living in our personal narrative. We all have basic unproven assumptions about life. Like, you might have an assumption, everybody loves me. And then if you go to a party and you have an assumption, everybody loves me, you're going to be very outgoing and confident at the party. Some people have an assumption, no one likes me, and then that person would be quite shy at a party. And we could keep going and keep going and keep going. So one of the really basic assumptions that we make is one basic assumption that is probably the most popular one, and it's created by our socioeconomic system, and particularly by advertising, is the assumption that I don't have enough. And it's sort of unspecific, that sense of not enough. Is this okay for, I feel like I'm lecturing now. Is this sitting well?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. Yeah. So the assumption I don't have enough it's unproven initially. It's a feeling without any story, without any proof attached to it. And that feeling of not having enough, it's, in my opinion, because it's an unproven theory, it's a kind of a feeling, it doesn't really matter how much you keep trying to compensate for that feeling with money or stuff or houses or anything. It's like a bottomless pit. So I mentioned to you, I just work with 8 or 10 people a year. And mostly the people I work with are entrepreneurs who have exited. So they've made their tens of millions or hundreds of millions. And now they're kind of feeling, I want to, I made a lot of money with an app that makes cats dance or something. And now I actually want to do something more meaningful. And that's what I do. I help people who've exited or who have exited through being investors to use their capital in a way that really it unquestionably makes a contribution to everybody. But what I've noticed, because most of my clients are very wealthy, is there is absolutely no correlation whatsoever between wealth and well-being after a very rudimentary point. So in America, at that point is just under 100,000 a year. So this is what Martin Seligman at the Center for Positive Psychology demonstrated. And by the way, cut me off if I go too long, because I want to be helpful but not dominate. Is that okay, Brandon?
This is wonderful. Please continue.
Okay, so Martin Seligman at the Center for Positive Psychology, he demonstrated that wealth and well-being, they operate like a bell curve. So if you're making 35,000 a year and it goes up to 45,000, your well-being on the whole will increase. In other words, the risk of drug addiction, the risk of divorce, of being estranged from your family, all of these things, your life will get better. If you go from 35 to 45,000, your life will get better. And they've got 22 markers of well-being. And that actually levels off. In England, it levels off at a much lower level because of nationalized medicine. But in America, it levels off just slightly under 100,000. And then it just stays flat. In other words, if you went from 125 to 175,000 in a year, your well-being measured by these markers of like happiness and relaxation would not particularly change. But here's the big shocker that no one could anticipate. Once you get into the millions, your well-being goes down. In other words, unless you've got some other huge factor involved, like you're meditating a lot or something, generally most people, if they go from 2 million to 3 million a year, most of the markers of well-being go down. In other words, the chances of drug addiction goes up, the chances of divorce goes up, the chances of stress-related illness goes up, and the chance of being estranged from your children, which is one of the big markers of well-being, also goes up. So what it means is, that our entire culture, which is really all propelled towards unlimited growth, that just whatever you've got, you need to have more, is actually based on a completely false assumption which can be disproven. But this assumption, like reinforcing this assumption about not enough, is what fuels our entire consumption economy. And because it's not really filling a need, we end up buying stuff that we just throw away or we put in a storage locker. A huge amount of the stuff people buy just ends up in landfills or being put aside because it never really fulfills. So consequently, this craving for more, when it's unaddressed, what it's really doing is making sure there is no future for our children and grandchildren, because we will have used up all the resources in this just unconscious greed for more and more and more, that we're just making sure that future generations will not have a world to inherit. So that's one basic assumption that everybody makes. I don't have enough, I haven't done enough, and I'm not enough in myself. And rather than questioning those assumptions, we just compulsively jump into activity. And you can see this on Clubhouse. There's a gazillion rooms open about how to make $1 million and how to convert clients. It's all about more for me, because that's the assumption that we work in. And that's the assumption that the economy needs us to work in order for the economy to keep growing. The economy is based on growth. And actually, if you look at the human body, the only analogy for a system based on growth would be cancer cells. Those are the only kind of cells in the body that just grow indiscriminately. So the other assumption that we can make, that we can cultivate, is the assumption I have enough. I've done enough. I have enough stuff, and I am enough in myself. And that causes relaxation, and that causes, once we realize, wow, I have enough, it causes frugality. I really enjoy the feeling of frugality. Frugality is my religion. If I can not spend money, I enjoy it, because it's a good feeling once you get into it. It's almost like being a monk or something. It feels good to spend less and less money and therefore need less and less money. But once you tune into the opposite assumption, the assumption is basically I have enough. I've already got enough. I'm already successful. I've already done enough. Everything's already perfect. Now you still have energy, because when you feel I've got enough, you don't just die then. You have energy. You still want to do stuff. It's just not fueled by the not enough trance. So when you've got energy in your life, but you know that you have enough, and you know you are enough, and you know you have enough love, and everything is enough, that energy becomes contribution, becomes what I call brilliance. You wake up in the morning knowing everything's enough already. Now, what can I do to share my enoughness with other people? And that, if you look at the research, which is limited at this point, but it's still, there is some research, that is actually what creates well-being. A life that is oriented towards contribution is a life that definitely creates all the correlates of well-being. So that's why I appreciate you guys looking at it in a different way, but that's why I would say we've already, in a way, manifesting is the problem. The problem is that we have the ability to manifest. We need to stop manifesting, right? Because and actually learn to relax and learn to be grateful and learn to actually just to relax that muscle that keeps wanting to do more and bring more. And then and when you actually relax the personal desire to manifest, I am going to manifest, there's a relaxation that allows you to be picked up by the force of creation that makes butterfly wings beautiful and makes life beautiful. And then you're picked up as a servant of that evolutionary tendency, and you live a life of real fulfillment. And a lot of the people I interviewed for Radical Brilliance, like Lynn Twist, Daniel Schmachtenberger, Alex Ebert, these are people who are they are carried by an evolutionary force. But it's not exactly, there's no willful manifesting occurring. It's simply relaxing and being available for an evolutionary force to carry you. Therefore, now, you're welcome to throw me off the stage, but that's my story.
No, I love that. It's actually, why I love these words is because they have been hijacked to mean I've got to make more money, or I've got to, and that's exactly what in my book I talk about. The ultimate abundance is time, or meaningful experience, fulfilling relationship. These are the things that really, peace, happiness, joy, these are the things that really lead us to a place of fulfillment and worth. So, manifesting is definitely a buzzword that's tied to creating. I mean, I almost prefer the word like Derek Rydell talks about, the law of emergence. It's already in you. It's already it's a matter of creating the right circumstances. The oak tree is already in the acorn, and by creating the right conditions, these things that really make life worth living, not chasing a dollar, are allowed to naturally emerge. And I think that's what you're speaking to. And it sounds like, for me, you've sort of turned your nose up a little bit at these words from what I'm hearing. And I'm saying, let's take them and reframe them. And I think but otherwise what we're saying about this topic is very, very similar.
Oh, should we have a hug now?
Yay.
Virtual hug.
I just want to I want to bring attention to one of the things you said that I really loved. You said a life that is oriented to contribution is a life that leads to true well-being. And that is one of the quotes that we use in the book, and that we use a lot when we talk about it, is it is in giving that we receive. And that really is the idea. It's flipping the script of keys to abundance and manifestation is you already have it. The mantra that we use in the book is I am infinite abundance. I am that which I seek. So that's really it. That's the hack is, you want to be infinitely abundant. Just remember you are, and then you are.
I would kind of like to roll off of that and speaking into that, if you don't mind me speaking.
Yeah, please, Shane, welcome to the stage.
Thank you. So for me, in my personal experience of dealing with that, my business mentor, he actually told me the worst day of his life was when he bought his dream car. And I always wondered what he meant by that. And as I went into deeper thinking, it was like he had nothing left to chase in his life once he obtained this thing he saw as success. And for me, I took that with me, and I went home with that, and I tried to figure out what can I do every single day of my life that I will never achieve, but I will be so fulfilled doing in the process. And that was honestly in the service of other people. I can never help everybody, but I could chase that every single day and have a fulfillment and within doing that every single day and never reach my goal, but yet there is a sense of satisfaction within doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Erica, you had something you wanted to add, and Jeremy?
Yeah, Shane, I love that. And it reminded me of the movie I Am. It's basically all about this idea of money not making you happy. And I feel like, listening to everything that we've been talking about since the beginning, what we're all really talking about here is like shifting our perspective. And it's a choice. Shifting our focus. It's a simple choice and a simple understanding that all there is love. And when we focus in that direction and love what comes, then like what we're saying, like that things just flow to you. So you're not trying to manifest, you're just becoming what is.
Hey guys, Jeremy speaking. Yeah, I love what everyone's saying. Just knowing the type of people that are in the audience right now, if it was invited by Brandon or myself, I feel like they're at the level spiritually and consciously where they understand that like money doesn't equal happiness. I do think we should mention that it's all about intention. Like if you're an asshole with no money, chances are you're going to be a bigger asshole when you do get money. However, if you're giving, you're kind, you're generous, even when you don't have that much, imagine what you're going to be like when you do have more resources at your disposal. So, of course, people who chase material things, we know like they're getting that quick hit of dopamine. It's not going to last long, right? But if your intention's good, this is another kind of, I think, issue I see in the spiritual world is people are so gifted. They have so many talents to share with the world, but like they don't care about money at all. And it's like, well, guess what? With more resources, now that I'm more financially abundant personally, I'm able to make a much bigger impact in the world. So, going back to what Arjuna was saying, I 100% agree. However, let's not make money a villain, right? Because I know all of us, who have achieved some level of financial success or whatever it may be, and we have big hearts, we're able to amplify our impact in the world, right? And we wouldn't be able to do that if we were broke. And just because I just thought, because I know Brandon said we were going till about 7, which doesn't leave so much time. So I really wanted to see if anyone in the audience had any questions for us or anything else to chime in with.
Yeah, and while we're waiting for anyone to raise your hand, guys, if you would like to ask a question or chime in on this. And I love what you just said, Jeremy. It's like, Gandhi said, if you want to find yourself, lose yourself in the service of others. The reason I believe that holds true is because there are no others. The consciousness that animates my form is the consciousness that animates your form, and the separation between us is illusory. I had this morning, I sat down for an hour with a friend of mine who, exited his company that he founded, the largest real estate platform, on the internet at one time. And he exited, over $1 billion, him and his partner. And he has avoided that I'm the very, very, very wealthy, rich asshole thing, because he just got back from Nicaragua a few days ago, where he's building schools for young women who are homeless, young children. And so he's, as Jeremy's saying, he's using this one form of abundance, financial abundance, in a way that actually is fulfilling. And so I think that's really important. I see a lot of times where, like, it's sort of like it becomes this negative thing, abundance, when actually financial abundance, when it can be used in a very powerful, positive way. And I think it's happening more and more frequently.
Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a moment to tell you a little bit about my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. The concept for the book initially came to me in a dream and has been followed by a next level amount of synchronicity, confirming for me that the information in the book is pertinent to get to the world at this moment in our collective evolution. In the book, I share the 8 keys to manifesting abundance that I've personally discovered over 25 years of trial, error, and deep exploration, including one golden key that ultimately ties them all together. I think most of you will agree with me that talk is a bit cheap, especially these days, and results speak the loudest of all. Well, these keys have led me to manifesting incredible results, such as an Inc. fastest growing private company, uncanny health, incredible relationships, and success with this podcast. However, I'm not any more special than you, and anyone can apply this information to achieve incredible results in their own life. I also believe waking up our planet by sharing these keys to abundance is the quickest way to help us to transition our home into the planet of paradise it is destined to become, which is why I'd like to gift the book to you at goldenkey.gift when you use the golden key code POSITIVEHEAD. I would also like to invite you to create your own unique golden key code so you in turn can gift the book to others, as well as invite you to participate in a unique abundance manifestation game with me and the other readers that is outlined in detail at the end of the book and on the website, where readers are also going to share the inspiring results of their abundance manifestation experiments. Lastly, I'm going to practice what I preach by sharing 50% of the abundance generated from the golden game and sale of the other golden goodies on the website with you and all the other readers. So if you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. Also, if you end up loving and appreciating your gifted copy of the book, please take a moment to go to Amazon and give it a review, which will greatly help me reach and unlock more hearts with the golden key.
Hey guys, I just wanted to chime in and share how crazy like this synchronicity is for me, because I have been talking to someone about ethical marketing, and also I just heard a podcast on a similar topic like this. And I also just wanted to say that I think especially in advertising or like marketing, a lot of these big companies are targeting the lack, right? Like Arjuna said, the lack of not having enough, that something is broken and that we need to fix it. And I feel like especially as coaches or like spiritual beings and like healers that are trying to help people out there, especially in coaches, I see a lot of coaches like targeting the something is missing and I want the secret to this, or something is broken and I can help you fix this. And for me personally as a coach as well, I feel like it's not about helping, it's not about fixing somebody's problem, or it's not about giving them something that they don't have, but like what Brandon said, the law of emergence, it's helping them see again that there's the wholeness in them, that they are enough, and that everything is within them. And my job as a coach is just to awaken that inner power within them, and to help them remember again that they are worthy and everything is already in them, and they can just have whatever that they want if they were to awaken this. power inside. So yeah, I thought I would share this little insight.
I love that. Beautiful. Thank you, Jamie, for sharing. And we're glad to have you back. Jamie is she's a master of manifestation herself. She has a lot of great insights. But yeah, so we do have about 10 more minutes. So, you know, I didn't see anyone from the audience raise their hand of anything else that they wanted to raise their hand or wanted to come up and say. So last chance to come up here and speak with us. Otherwise, Brandon, if you want to chime in, and then if anyone else on the stage has one last like bubbling thought or thing that they want to share, they can. But Brandon, go ahead if you have something you want to say.
I would love to hear a question or thought from someone in the audience. I know there's someone out there who's like, should I raise my hand? Maybe, I don't know, because there's quite a few people out there. So we want to hear what you have to say. And if not, I'm pretty sure Arjuna does have something to say, or Heath, or Jeremy, or Daryl, or someone up here. So yeah, let's see what can bubble up that will be helpful. I'm really grateful that Arjuna, you landed in here for this, because it really opened up the conversation in a really good way, and I appreciate everyone's offering so far.
Phew.
Yay! And we got Hope just raised her hand. So Hope, please share what is it that is bubbling up for you or that you'd like to ask us.
Hi, I would love to ask you your insights on manifestation and having to do with health issues, like if somebody has chronic health issues that have stopped them from manifesting what they truly desire. Because that seems to be a running theme, especially right now. There's a lot of that going on right now, and I would just love to get another opinion or another some more insight as you know, because I already have my own insights. I would love to hear your insights on that.
I would love to chime in if that's cool.
Please do, Jeremy. I think you're a great person to respond to this.
Awesome. Yeah, Hope. Appreciate you asking. So, I mean, obviously, I don't know the specifics of what you're asking. If you want to provide more context, feel free to. But, you know, regardless of what your view on the last year has been, you know, this was a health issue that I think we can agree like turned political and a lot of things like that. And Brandon referenced Joe Dispenza earlier. He's all about elevated emotions, and understand that when you're operating from fear and scarcity, you're literally causing inflammation to your body on a cellular level. So similar to if you're eating a toxic inflammatory food, you know, that's processed, artificial sweeteners or vegetable oils or any of these things that are so common nowadays, unfortunately, you know, when you have this constant story of fear, like I'm gonna get sick, I am sick, I'm gonna get worse, all of these things, rather than actually pausing and taking, I think it was Daryl who said, just one small step. Like, what's one thing I can do today to elevate my health? Maybe it's going on a walk in the morning. Maybe it's making sure I'm staying hydrated. Maybe it's breath work. Maybe it's moving your body. Whatever that thing is, you know, there's no one to say it's right or wrong, but that, you know, is going to elevate your health. And obviously the scale of the illness matters. You know, people, unfortunately, now, you know, we have over 50% of the population is obese, and that doesn't happen overnight, right? That is compounded poor habits over a long period of time. But sabotaging ourselves and saying like, oh shit, I'm a fat ass, or I'm never going to get better, that's just going to make things worse. So it's kind of like this fine line between being real with yourself, being honest with yourself, and also doing your best not to continually live in the past, because when you do that, you're gonna manifest the same emotions, right? Fear, resentment, scarcity, that are going to cause that inflammation. So hopefully that provided a little context, and I'm happy to provide more support if you'd like to talk more.
I would actually like to run over that. if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, and then Erica had something to add as well, it looked like.
Yeah. So coming from my personal experience, last year, 2020, was actually when I got the sickest. I was diagnosed with SIBO. I had systemic candida yeast of the bloodstream. My liver was failing. My pancreatic elastase was rock bottom. And I was developing jaundice. I was completely sick. And I think the biggest thing for me in healing on my process was forgiveness was the first step for me. And it's like Jeremy said, it's compounded over time. What for me leading to my recovery was pretty much I was 211 pounds. I was morbidly obese. My body fat percentage was at 40%. And now I'm sitting at 150 at 12% body fat. And I'm the healthiest I've ever been. But for me, it was forgiveness of like not knowing what led me to be there. And then when I went to my parents' generation, I was like, well, they didn't implement the things in me that were going to help me to heal. And then I looked further back, like their parents never taught them. And it was, I want to say as far back as I can remember, at least 6 generations deep, and forgiveness in that. And that's actually what helped me onset to my journey of healing. Because once I forgave that, then I can make the steps in the right direction for healing myself. Because I think that's a lot of thing is we blame ourselves for being in the situation we're in, not realizing the actions that led us up to be there.
Shane, that's beautiful.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing. That's
Thank you.
One of the many things that I've been taught and that I teach is not only forgiveness of others, but even more so forgiveness of yourself, and changing thought patterns, changing beliefs, core beliefs that we have about ourselves, about our health, about deserving. Because if we don't think that we deserve the good things in life, how can we possibly manifest them? But I would love to hear anything more that anybody else has to contribute to this. Thank you, and this is Hope, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Hope. So this is what I help people with on a regular basis through a hypnosis method. And what I love about what you said, Shane, is forgiveness is really one of the biggest ways that people heal. Forgiveness, compassion for the self, because all healing is self-healing. And back to what Jeremy was saying, like to have these thoughts of fear running our lives, that is definitely going to keep us unwell. But we shift that perspective and understand that love is really our greatest protection, that keeps our immune system strong and that keeps us healthy. And so when we try to manifest wellness for ourselves, doing all those things that involve personal responsibility are wonderful. And that's like the first best step. But if we're trying to like push our will with it, it's never going to work, in the sense of we have to get the lesson. We have to understand why our body is giving us this symptom to begin with, because that's part of our soul's journey. And so once we get that lesson, then the healing innately happens because the body just knows how.
I love that, because Tony Robbins said something that really resonated with me. And he says, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And along my journey, I've learned that everything that I have gone through, every sickness that I dealt with leading me up to getting better, has led me to a platform where I'm able to help people with my story. So I believe me getting sick is part of my journey. And I'm 100% grateful for me getting sick, as weird as that may sound to other people.
That's one of the reasons, Shane, that so many people actually choose to go through an experience like this, is so that they have the understanding, or that they can turn around and to help others with it. That's exactly right. I hear that so often in my practice.
Exactly. Like for me, and it's crazy enough, like I'm a very spiritual person. A couple of years ago, I asked God, I was like, please, I want to do nothing but help and serve people in the world. And I think my prayers were answered by me getting sick in retrospect. And you can never connect the dots going forward. You could only connect it going backwards. And I truly believe that me getting sick has led me to understand compassion, empathy, understanding, depression, anxiety. And that's why I've become a depression and anxiety coach, is because that's the most thing that's prevalent in our time now, is so many of us are dealing with depression and anxiety, yet I believe I had to feel and embody depression and anxiety in order to understand, to communicate it better with my clients.
That's amazing, Shane. This is Daryl. I just want to chime in just real quick and add a thought here. And that thought is particular for anybody in the audience listening. It's real easy to talk about this stuff and to understand it when you're on the other side of it. And so for anybody who's dealing with difficulty, just know it's a part of your own personal journey. And we were all brought here with a story to write. And we all have a choice of how that story gets written. And I really I'm loving what everybody is saying here, because ultimately there is a choice, a conscious choice to say, I'm going to live my life differently. And in the very beginning, it can really just be that simple, because I know for me, sometimes being in these rooms, I love the high concepts and talking about abundance and manifestation, and I could go about this all day long. But I've also been on this path for over 20 years. And so for anybody who's just getting started and feels mired in what they're dealing with and doesn't understand how to forgive themselves, or doesn't really know what it means to, or feels like to be abundant, just know that if you keep going and keep following that little voice inside of you that says, go this way, try this, pop into that room on Clubhouse, talk to this person, ultimately you're going to be led down your own personal journey. That is yours, that is unique, that nobody can ever take away from you. And that is the beauty of all of us in the human race. And it's the beauty of this app, because we get to punch in here and each tell our own stories and gain little pieces of wisdom from one another. So that's just something I wanted to just share for a moment for anybody who might be listening and doesn't necessarily have an idea of how to get here. And yeah, that's it for now. This is Daryl, and I'm done speaking.
Daryl, you always have such a thoughtful share. I so appreciate you. And to just add a little bit to this, hope, it makes me think of a friend of mine who very, very sick, and he would, every time he'd go into the hospital, he would make it like, he's going in for another surgery, and sing, Bob Marley, and get the doctors and surgeons singing as he's getting wheeled in, and just, it's like Jeremy said, that emotion, tapping into heightened emotion, the vibration of that, singing, one love, everything's going to be all right, as I'm like maybe going to die, like, wow, his ability to navigate there. And what do you know? He's a miraculous story. He's a miraculous case. And so it's, however that person can find their way to a state of trusting the mystery of what's happening. This is happening for me, not to me. I say that all the time, Shane. So I'm love it. It's like, okay, the only thing I've ever considered myself good at is telling a good story around, my story, right? Making up my story in a way that serves me. I've told the story since I was a little kid. I don't believe in getting sick. Now, I can't say I've never been sick, but like compared to the average person, very, very rare. Like, thrown up a handful of times, never been in a hospital, and it's like 30% of healings are placebo, including surgery. So it's so important to find our way to a story that serves us. And then if you are in the middle of it, and I'm probably less equipped, like Daryl so eloquently said, say, yeah, it's real easy when you're on the other side of it and you're not in the throes of it. But like my friend Harmon, if you can find your way to, okay, I'm in it and I'm trusting this process, and I'm going to, I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know if I'm going to come out of this surgery, but I'm going to sing Bob Marley, everything's going to be all right, and get everyone tapping into that vibration. There's a palpable feeling that emerges when I wasn't there, but we can all imagine it if we were being wheeled with him and the doctors in this moment, and feeling the energy of that. That is like healing vibrations, right? And it's there, accessible for all of us to navigate to, if we are so willing.
Beautiful. It's so good. You guys, we're gonna start wrapping up the room here. I definitely will leave some time for some final thoughts. But just as those final thoughts are coming in, I want to make sure that we all stay connected. So take these last few minutes now, you guys, if you haven't already, just click on everyone in the room. make sure you follow them on Clubhouse. Follow Brandon, because we do these rooms every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So if you follow him here on Clubhouse and turn the notification on, you'll be pinged next time that we start these rooms, and we'd love to have you join. And if you also go in his profile and follow him on Instagram, you can get more of what he's up to. And of course, check out the book goldenkey.gift. And I see Shaman Durek just joined the stage. So
yeah, I just invited Durek up because
awesome.
He popped in, and I know he will have some great wisdom to add to this question from Hope about, what sort of advice to give someone who is, in the throes of illness and really, really struggling, what techniques. And we've all sort of chimed in here, Durek, and I know that you're going to have something great to offer. So please share if you would.
Yes, please.
What kind of illness is Hope going through?
It wasn't so much for me. I was kind of playing devil's advocate for, because I do coaching, and but I have experienced chronic illness in my life, and I know how I deal with it. But I was really wanting to kind of take a step back from contributing and just listening to see what others are saying, what can be contributed to helping people who have chronic illness, who deal with it on a day-to-day basis, on a long-term basis.
Well, I mean,
how that connects in with their ability to manifest what they want in their lives.
Right. So again, it depends what kind of chronic illness we're looking at, because remember, everything that is showing up in the body is showing up on a level that's either happening psychologically, or it's happening through epigenetics, or it's happening because the body is having what we call aggressive attacks. And it can be from environment, from food, from allergies, from a multiple of different things. So anyone can manifest. I mean, that's a given. Manifestation doesn't have anything to do with if you're chronic ill or not. I mean, I was in a dialysis for 8 years and stuck on a machine, and I was manifesting. So again, it's also about it's also looking at what are you doing to manifest, the understanding of looking at and breaking down, like a functional medicine doctor would, breaking down what is the things that led to this chronic illness, and then being able to take the necessary steps to be able to navigate it more efficiently. So in shamanism, the way we look at everything is we look at it in several parts. We look at it based on your environment. We look at it if your environment is conducive to your body, because some people are living in cold weather that's actually making them sick because their body actually needs sun. So we look at it we look at based on your social group, like such as your community. So looking at what types of people do you have around you, because in shamanism, again, we also believe that if you have toxic people around you, and when I say toxic people, I mean people who speak downward. That means they speak against themselves. They speak in fear. They speak in lack. They speak in scarcity. They speak in always there's a problem. They keep going back to the past, digging up more of their graveyards and bringing them into resurrection. And those types of energies actually create a huge amount of stagnicity, and not just stagnicity in the energy sense, but also for the neurological system. Because when the neurological system is being affected by that level of discord, it actually causes more inflammation in the body, which has been scientifically proven. So again, looking at the mental health and how the type of community and type of people you're surrounding yourself with, what types of things are they saying to you? Looking at your food, what kind of diet are you on? Are you trying to be a vegan when your body doesn't really want to be a vegan? Are you a person who eats meat when your body doesn't want to have meat? All of these things play an integral role in one's health. And then how much nature are they getting? How much nature are they spending in nature? A lot of times when people have chronic illness, it comes with pain, it comes with inflammation, flare-ups, it comes with all types of different types of situations happening to the body. And a lot of that can be mitigated and even released if there is an acknowledgement of what the body's needing. The body is a beautiful biological spacesuit, and what we have to understand is that the body is smart. It's an intelligent technology, and it needs the right specific types of codes and information inputted to be able to create a balance and what we call homeostasis and well-being. So nature is actually a resurgence. It allows the body, because our body is an ecosystem, and so is Mother Earth. And so if we understand that our body is an ecosystem, are we putting things in our ecosystem that actually destroys our ecosystem? Like if we dump tar in the ocean for 20 years, we'd probably be dead by now, because the water wouldn't, the clouds would not be able to pick up the water and bring it to the earth, and then all these other things would instill. So again, it's really important how we're regulating with the body, how much nature we're getting, because nature replenishes the elementals in our body, which are our bones, which is earth, our muscles, which is fire, our water, bile, semen, vaginal fluid, spinal fluid, any liquids of the body, which is water, and then of course our breath, which is air. And all of these have to be balanced equally for homeostasis to set in. So then once we look at the nature element, we also have to look at what is the intake of emotional balance taking place. How much is the hormones or how much of the endocrine system is getting balanced based on what they're watching on TV? What kind of music are they listening to? What type of frequencies are they bringing into their body that is actually either creating a harmonic vibrational tone for healing and transformation? Or is it creating aggressive frequencies that make the body also feel under attack? So, this is very important as well, too. How much water they're bringing in is highly important. How much sleep they're getting is highly important. And then also how much creativity and also sense of purpose are they creating in their life, which is also highly important. And so when we understand the environment, we have to also look at their home. Are they clutter? Are they pack rats? Do they keep a lot of things that they should be letting go of? Does their body feel suffocated? Very important. And then again, we have to see if the trauma or anything has been instilled from the epigenetics through the embryo aspect of the gestation period of the mother. So if that is the case, then again, we have to look at like what those things are, so we know exactly, are we going to use sound healing? Are we going to use shamanism? Or do they need plant medicine to heal trauma? Or do they need some kind of trauma healing that's not plant medicine based? Do they need something that's going to help them flush out their meridians or clean out their system or get good microbiome? So again, we have to look at this. How much mucus is their body creating? These things play an integral role in chronic health problems and immune deficiency diseases and anything that you see going on in the body. I remember, cancer is the cells turning the opposite direction because the body is not getting what it needs, and the body goes into constant inflections because of it constantly feels like it's under attack. And so again, these are some of the things that I would look at if someone was coming to me and saying, hey, I have this illness or I have this. Those are the things that shamans look at. And we take them bit by bit and look at that. And then we look at the family as well. And then we look at the spirits that person is hanging out with. Like, for instance, they might have the spirit of torment hanging out in their energetic field. Well, a spirit of torment is going to keep them sick. It's going to keep them in torment. So we would have to detach them from that. They might have the spirit of fear that makes them keep calling in these energies that are actually not supporting them. So we would have to detach them from that. So again, we need to see what type of spirits are in their catalog that hang out with them on a day-to-day. Or is it spirits of trust and love and compassion and healing and connection and nurturing? Or is it tormenting spirits and fear-based spirits and spirits of self-punishment and self-flagellation and all these different things? Because these spirits do, connect with people. And then I see why people have money problems, why they have love problems, because these spirits are attached to them. And yes, why some people's businesses don't work out, it's because the spirits are in their business. So again, in shamanism, we look at both the physical, we look at the emotional, we look at the mental, and we look at the spiritual. This is Shaman Durek, and I'm done speaking.
Yeah, I love that. Your timing was perfect, and thanks for all of that, Durek. One of the things that I think of is there's a great book I refer to as like the guidebook for ascension. It's not that well known. It's called Oneness by Rasha. It's channeled material and is so poetic and beautifully written. And she talks about in that book how I've seen this in people who, you start on that that spiritual journey. And we've all seen the memes where it's like, we think it's going to be unicorns, rainbows, love and light. And then like Durek's path, which 8 years, super sick. And, a lot of times what that particular book references is how these, as we start on our path, these blockages, sometimes sickness was going to come up that is, multidimensional stuff that's happening. And we're like, hold on, I thought I was doing the right work. I was on a good path. Why all of a sudden is this sickness coming up to actually be released through our system? And it's something that I've seen it time and time again, where, and probably a lot of you have as well, where they feel like things are going really, really well. They're really shifting their perspective, starting to do the right things, and out of nowhere, this crazy thing hits them. And I'm curious, Durek, you and I've never really talked about this, but I'm curious, when your sickness hit, where were you mentally, and where were you on your spiritual journey? I'd love to know.
Yeah, so I was completely burnt out. I was traveling to countries that were like, I was dealing with war in Israel. I was dealing and doing a lot of work in the Gaza Strip in, between Palestine, the Palestinians and Israelis. And I was dealing with so many social conflicts, and not just in there, but also in Turkey. And, and for me, it was like really heavy stuff, because it wasn't just like I was dealing with it, like I was in the midst of it, like, like bombs going off in front of me, watching shrapnel rip people's arms off, and tanks coming down the street. And like, I remember one situation where this guy was like killing people on the street with knives, and then this tank he like got in a tank and started shooting all these people, and I'm like right there hanging out with my friends and watching the whole thing. So everyone's trying to run behind the building, and then you see the Israeli soldiers come up behind him, and then like, start stabbing him, and he's trying to run and stuff, and so he shoots himself. And when you get all this intensity in your face all the time, and then you're like traveling and going to other countries, and you're just constantly on the move. You're in Egypt, you're in this place and that place, and the intensities were so intense. And I wasn't really, there were times where I was doing like 7 to 8 people a day. And then I was doing work for the Israeli government, where I was finding missing people and using my powers for that. And oh my God, that was so much stress, because when you have like the Israeli army call you up and be like, okay, we're sending you the map right now. Can you please tell us the coordinates or where you feel that these people have been kidnapped? And I'm like wherever I'm like, on my friends, I'm like, okay, I got to lay down on bed. I need quiet space. And then when you do everything you can, and it brings up a lot of emotions for me, because I did that for a while. And, everything you can to save the person. You see the situation, you see where they're heading, you get the coordinates, but you're 5 minutes late, or you're 10 minutes late. Like I had this friend named, this person who was a friend of this guy named Elias Sorkin. And they came to me, they brought me his didgeridoo. And I literally grabbed the didgeridoo, left my body, flew all the way to Santa Cruz, saw them beating him in a basement, these 2 guys. A girl was on the phone screaming. I saw the address. I saw what was going on. I saw them take him. And so I said, you got to go to Santa Cruz. And then they got there, and they went to the police station, and they're like, what to do? Who do we talk to? They're not helping us. And all of a sudden I went to trance, and the spirits are like, Officer Robertson. And so I was like, you got to ask for an Officer Robertson. So they're like, how do you know about Officer Robertson? And they're like, we just know. And they're like, he's a homicide detective, but he's retired. And they're like, we need his number. So he got into the case, and then they called me, and they're like, what do you see? And I'm like, I see them throwing him. They're burning his car. They're putting it in the off a top of a freeway in a area, like a surrounding area. And they found the burnt car, and they threw him to the ocean, and it was too late. And when those things happen, like even I had the situation with this kid who was kidnapped, and I was too late. And every time I'm too late, I would beat up on myself. So I'm doing that. I'm dealing with the intensity, and I wasn't taking care of my health. I wasn't eating. I had high blood pressure. I went to a doctor, like, you have really high blood pressure. And I'm like, come on. I have to get on a plane. Like, I have to go. And I realized that it just wasn't good enough. And I blew out my vessels in my kidneys. And I went into my kidneys my body filled up with potassium at a 10.6. And I went into anaphylactic shock, and basically went into a cardiac arrest. and that's how I died. And that's how, and then when I came out of that, when I came back from the other side and came back into my body, and I was in a coma for 2 months, and they told me I was never going to walk. I was in a wheelchair, paralyzed, brain damage, and put on dialysis. And that was my life until I could figure out how to get myself out of that situation. So for me, every day was pain. Every day was like throwing up in the toilet, coming, like sometimes the dialysis treatments were so intense because the machine pumps your heart so fast that it feels like you're running a marathon, but you're in a chair for like 4 hours in this marathon, and your body starts cramping because it takes too much water out of your body because you can't drink water, period. And you can only drink a small amount of water a day. So your mouth is always dry, like you smoked pot, you know, and you get that cotton mouth. It's like that cotton mouth. That's what you live with for 8 years, as long as you don't have a kidney. And every time you feel like you want to go to the bathroom, you can't pee because nothing's coming out. So it feels like glass is cutting the inside of your penis. And then you're in this machine, you go into cramping, but they can't stop the cramping because they have to keep you on the machine. So you just scream yourself into you pass out. So it was really intense. But what I did was I kept myself busy. So what I did was I would go to the dialysis center at DaVita super early to work with the doctors and the nurses and give them massages. And then I would sit down with all the patients and talk about holism and meditation. And then I put together bingo night on Tuesdays so that I would go to the 99-cent store and buy all these 99-cent gifts so that they had bingo. And then I would bring in like a massage chair and give like massages to the doctors and the technicians who would like put the needles in our arms. And then I would see the next day, I would be meditating early in the morning, and then I would see 5 clients that day when I should have been resting. But I knew that if I let myself just follow that routine of being miserable in bed because I'm in excruciating pain and not try to fight through that pain and find something to put my attention to, I wouldn't be here today. And literally, I would sit in a wheelchair and I would invite people to my house and I'd sit them down and share with them shamanism and share with them spiritual teachings and share with them how to meditate and connect with themselves. And I remember one time I was at Coachella and I had my dialysis machine rigged at this party my friend threw. And it was like, and I had this long cord made for me that my friend figured out how to make by taking a bunch of cords from the dialysis machines and putting them together where I could be dancing on the dance floor. And I'd be like, wait, you guys, someone's stepping on my cord, get off my cord. And everyone would be like, oh my God, you guys get off Shaman Durek's cord. And then they would like realize that this girl was like stepping on my things. I wasn't getting the fluids into my body, and I even like rigged, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to stop my life. I literally built this device where I could do transportation dialysis. And I went to the jungle and I used to drag, and I remember the shamans used to laugh because I would drag my machine on these big wheels through the jungle while hooked up doing my treatments. And they're like, isn't that thing, can't you get an infection or something? I'm like, yeah, I can. But you know what? I'm gonna do this anyway. I'm gonna live my life. And that's what I did. And I started, I ate really healthy and I'd meditate so the pain would be less. And so all of that, and I healed myself out of the wheelchair. I healed my brain damage because I couldn't be able to, I used to have a person who was an assistant with me all the time because I couldn't pick up anything with my hands and I couldn't bend my toes and I couldn't feel my legs. And I ended up healing my legs and healing my hands. It took a while. And then my sister gave me a kidney. I did all the stuff to heal my kidney, but then spirit came to me and was like, that's your thorn. I'm like, what's my thorn? And they're like, you're a shaman. That's your thing, to always keep you humble, to keep you in a place of remembrance of your death ceremony. I'm like, okay. So you're saying I'm not going to be able to heal my kidney? And they're like, no. They're like, you're not going to heal your kidney. You're going to receive a kidney. And I'm like, from who? And then my sister called me out of nowhere and was like, this angel came in my room and it was so bright and I couldn't even look into the light. And it told me to give you a kidney. And you know how scared I am of operations. And she gave me a kidney. And the moment I got my kidney, I went right back to Israel. I went right back to Turkey and had to deal with all the stuff with Erdogan and Taksim and the coup in Turkey. So yeah.
Wow. Wow, Shaman Durek, that is such a epic story. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, what a journey of healing, and it touches on a lot of topics that we talked about earlier in the room. About just the art of allowing was one of the first things that was brought up, and stop beating the drum of how unhappy you are and love what comes. And it sounds like that's just what you did, and choosing to tell the story that I'm so worthy, because you decided to do all these things like meditate and continue to offer healings to people and just do things to take care of yourself, because you were tapping into that feeling of I'm so worthy. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being here. I want to do a little reset of the room, because as Shaman Durek, as you entered, you also brought your whole entourage with you. So I see a lot of new faces in the audience, and a lot of new people joined us here on stage. So yeah, just to
Hey
kind of
tribe,
reset.
love you tribe.
Yes.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome. So yeah, just to give everyone some context, Brandon Beecham is the host of the Positive Head podcast, and Erica here on stage as well as co-host. And then I am his partner, and Jeremy is here joining us as well. Brandon started this room as, keys to abundance and manifestation are topics that he covers in his new book, The Golden Key, Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. And so we wanted to start a room like this because Brandon, who's been doing the Positive Head podcast for about 5 years now, going on 6, he's done, I think he just hit 1,400 or 1,500 episodes.
Who's counting? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So he's been doing it for quite a while, but he's really wanting to create more opportunities for these two-way conversations. And so the idea of creating this Clubhouse room was, okay, I've been talking about this stuff in the Positive Head podcast. I just put out the book, The Golden Key, Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance, which is sort of these ideas distilled into a short book, which you can get the ebook and the audiobook. The ebook is under 100 pages, the audiobook's under 3 hours. So it's an easy listen, an easy read. If you guys go to goldenkey.gift, that's .gift, and you use the code Clubhouse, you can actually download the ebook and the audiobook as a gift, because we are really we're practicing abundance. That's the whole idea. We give in order to receive. So we want to gift these keys to everybody, so that everybody can then share in the abundance. So that was the intention of the room, is we wanted to have this more two-way conversation about these ideas. So having said that, I see lots of new people joining the stage. Welcome, Liana, Amanda, Alexa, Paula, Isabella. So if you guys have any thoughts that you want to share on this topic, or questions that you want to ask, or just anything that's bubbling up for you as you've been listening to what's been being shared and what I've shared, please just go ahead and take your mic off, and let's keep the conversation going.
Hey, Karen, can I just add something real quick?
Yes, please. Jeremy, go ahead. And then I saw Isabella take her mic off. So
amazing. I just wanted to acknowledge Shaman Durek for sharing so authentically and vulnerably about that story. And it was all started by Hope asking a question. And I think a lot of times I know I'm guilty of this. Like, I grew up with this narrative for most of my life, thinking that my voice didn't matter. And, sometimes we're intimidated to ask a question and appear like it's a stupid question or something like that. So chances are, if you have a question and it's burning inside of you, you're nervous, maybe you're feeling that fear come up, it's probably a sign that you need to lean into that discomfort, and you're probably going to be helping other people on the way. So thank you everyone for joining in, and yeah, let's continue rolling.
Hi, this is Isabella. Shaman Durek, thank you so much for this share. I mean, puts so many things in perspective. I just love the whole, no self-pity, but I just keep going. And it is about acceptance. It's about getting, instead of judging something as good or bad, it just is, and you deal with it and you make the best out of it. And I try to live my life like this, and I have a lot of similar stories, but it's so funny. I'm listening to you. I'm like, oh no, I can't compare myself. No, the fact that I gave myself 200 shots in 1 year, that has nothing to like. It's so funny how just listening to someone else and their perspective just makes everything just stand in a completely different light. But my question was, and maybe it's a bit of a controversial subject, but I was wondering what your thoughts were, everyone here on stage, on 5G and how 5G is interfering with our own body and our frequency and the way we create our reality. Because obviously everything we're talking about, it's not, we can't see it, right? We can't see it. It's all vibration, it's all frequency. And I can't help but question everything else that's being put out there. Maybe it's making everything faster in terms of the internet, but how is it interfering with our body? And I'm also wondering, because I have recently switched to a 5G phone, and they sort of forced me to do a 5G network in my house because that's the only router that the company provided, and I was kind of mad about it. And it happened about 2 months ago, and my sleep has been horrible. I'm just not feeling as good, and I'm not sure if it's related or not. And I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that. And this is Isabella, and I am done speaking.
Isabella, welcome. Thank you for that question. What a great question. And I'd love to add something, and of course hear from some others as well. A quick question back for you. When you got the 5G router in the house, was there a lot of fear around it? Did you have, had you been kind of researching this and hearing stories around the idea that could do harm to you?
That's a good question. I didn't actually. It wasn't until later. It wasn't necessarily that I was like, oh, what's causing the lack of sleep? What's causing me not feeling, oh, maybe it's this. I didn't have that much fear about it because I didn't connect the dots, to be honest with you. I just heard about the towers, and I knew like this could be not good for us, but it wasn't until someone, pointed out the 5G phone and I was like, oh wait, I only now have 5G network in my house. Like it used to be 2G, and all of a sudden it's just 5. So I know what you're saying, because I am a complete believer, and it's a self, and I'm very, very aware of that. And I don't think that's what it is, because I really didn't have any preconceived fears or thoughts about it. Yeah.
Right. Good. Yeah. It's interesting with these things. It's such a delicate dance between rooted in reality, whatever that is, and our own belief systems. And for me, whenever there's what's worked for me, that's what I can speak to. And whenever there's controversial or conflicting information, you have people who are rolling this out because it's the best thing since sliced bread and advertising it on billboards. You then have the people who are saying this is going to destroy the planet. So what I always go back to with myself that has served me so well is, okay, 30% of all healings are a placebo, right? Including surgery. Wild, right? You can tell someone, I just put you under and gave you the surgery. You believe it, you heal yourself. So I started telling this story when I was a small kid. I don't believe in getting sick. I can't say I've never been sick, but it's like literally I've thrown up maybe 10 times in my life and I've never been to a hospital. Doesn't mean if it ever does happen, I will hopefully be as gracious and graceful with it as Durek was and others. And it's served me. I just got the new iPhone 5G. I've heard about all of this, and I just go back to what's worked for me personally, which is this abracadabra, meaning I create as I speak. The definition, right? Our words are our wands. We're casting a spell with the beliefs around these things. So there is so much evidence to show that. And so what can I do if I'm being bombarded by 5G? Well, for me, I'm telling the story that, this is not something that will affect me. And that's not to discredit anything that anyone else is experiencing or seeing. But, in a world where there's so much conflicting information, that is the thing that has served me time and time again to write my own narrative around it. Of course, once you start having, some sort of a symptom, obviously in your case, you're exploring as any rational person would, what could it be? But I've always led with that, and it has served me really, really well.
Thank you so much, Brandon. And I, I completely agree. I never get sick. I sort of taught myself, no, like I just don't get sick. And I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm vegan. I lead a really healthy lifestyle. I meditate. I'm completely conscious of and aware. But because something like this happened, I'm like, this is so unusual for me. Like I don't deal with, insomnia. I don't deal with this. So that's why I was like, well, maybe, sorry about my doggy, maybe there's something that's even bigger than, than what I can handle. This is why I started questioning it, but I will definitely take your advice even more, sort of, I'll just really talk myself into like, this will not affect me. So just to take that out of the calculation. But if anyone else has any thoughts on, what else we can do in case it is true, what we can do to protect ourselves, I'm definitely open to it. Because I would love to hear your thoughts. I'm very new to the subject. And this is Isabella, and I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. I think Shaman Durek mentioned this when he was speaking. I think nature and getting grounded is so important, especially during these times. So whether that means, getting outside bare feet and just feeling the earth beneath you and creating more of that equilibrium and connectedness to the planet and to your body will go a long way. And I think now with Clubhouse, there's people, I heard the term Clubhouse fatigue get thrown around yesterday. I was like, oh crap, like that's a thing now. So there's Zoom fatigue, there's Clubhouse fatigue. So make sure, all of these are great tools to engage and stay connected with community and tribe, but make sure you're giving yourself consistent space during the day to just get outside, disconnect from the screen, and feel your feet in nature and feel the sun if you have that luxury on your face. And I think that will go a long way. Yeah, so that's something I would like to add. Jeremy's done speaking.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I would love to jump in here too and offer, crystals like shungite, I think it's called, and black tourmaline. If you actually Google shungite, it's SHUNGITE. There's a lot of information about it protecting against EMFs and things like that. So I know I use a lot of crystals to help with my aura and just working with energy fields. Nature, absolutely, for sure, and including or adding some crystal power magic into your house would be really beautiful as well. I'm Terrell.
Yeah, go ahead, Terrell.
Oh, I was just saying I'm Terrell and I'm finished.
Okay, and I saw Alexa took her mic off for a second. Did you have something to share?
Hi everybody, peace. Thank you for letting me join, and I am honored to be around, not around physically, but virtually, all these light beings. And I firstly wanted to say, Shaman Durek, I'm huge supporter of you. I am completely compelled with your work. I think you're amazing. And listening to you speak is always inspiring for me, especially because you're so brave and releasing and saying things that are very, for a lot of people, it takes a lot of courage to say that, and you kind of set a par for everyone. So thank you for that, first and foremost. And I kind of want to directly ask you a question about, I'm a shamaness in the making. A lot of people over the years have come to me for healing, and I'm always constantly finding myself healing, which I'm sure you as a healer know that as well. It's like the healer must be healed as well. And I've noticed something with me lately with my upper back is just like the last 5 months just out of whack. And I know that usually has a lot to do with flow of energy just not it's stagnated, and I need some chakra alignment. And I'm wondering if there's anything in particular you recommend that I could do to fix that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, hi, this is Shaman Durek speaking. Put your hand out in front of you, like you're cupping, someone would pour water into your hand.
Okay.
Say 10 spirit sparks rest on my hand.
10 spirit sparks rest on my hand.
And tell me what you feel on your hand.
It's like, it feels like water actually flowing.
Say merge with my body.
Merge with my body.
How does that feel?
Bit meditative, actually.
Good. Now say correct my back.
Correct my back.
Pull the poison out of my mouth and throat.
Pull the poison out of my mouth and throat. Oh, wow. It's quite intense, actually.
Yes, it is.
It feels like my body's trying to like block it from happening too.
No. Say, let's see what spirit you have with you. Council members, put up on the wall here in my room what spirit is connecting with her. I see. Say spirit of anger.
Spirit of anger.
I'm breaking up with you.
I'm breaking up with you.
Say you've completed.
You've completed.
You ready to go home to the light?
You ready to go home to the light? Oh my God, whoa, I just saw a bright white light and my eyes are closed. Whoa.
See, now that you're in the light, what have you changed into?
Now that you're in the light, what have you changed into?
What did it say to you?
Nothing.
What did you feel?
Hot.
Say, are you happy to go home to see your family in heaven?
Are you happy to go home to see your family in heaven? It's like hiding from me. It's like no. Wow.
If it's saying no, that's because you're still not allowing yourself to break up with it. So say say spirit sparks, go to my ears.
Spirit sparks, go to my ears.
Merge into my ears.
Merge into my ears.
You feel that?
Yeah.
Good. Say open up my ability to speak to the spirits.
Open up my ability to speak with the spirits.
Say spirit guides, are you here?
Spirit guides, are you here? My hands and feet got a little cold.
That's normal.
Yeah.
Say spirit guides, can you say something in my thoughts?
My right ear is ringing. Spirit guides, can you say something in my thoughts? Silence.
What did they say?
Silence.
No, it didn't say silence.
No, I mean, didn't say anything.
No, it did say something. You don't think it's saying something. Say, can you please say increase the ringing in my ear and open up my ability to hear?
Increase the ringing in my ear and open up my ability to hear.
Now say, open up your ability to speak into my thoughts.
Open up your ability to speak into my thoughts.
And say hello to me.
And say hello to me.
What came in your thoughts?
It's like a, whoa. It's like I don't know how to put this in words. It's like a womb.
Good.
Like,
Say thank you. I heard you.
thank you. I heard you.
Say hello to me again.
Say hello to me again. She's doing it again. It's like a womb. It's crazy.
This means your powers are opening. Say thank you. I heard you.
Thank you. I heard you.
Say increase.
Increase. Oh my God. Whoa.
Nothing to be afraid of, my dear. Just opening up your abilities. You must have shut them down at a certain time. I didn't look through your files to see when.
Oh my God. Oh.
Now what's happening?
It's getting louder and louder.
Yes, good. Say I hear you. Thank you.
I hear you. Thank you.
Say the gates almost open.
For the gates almost open.
Say increase.
Increase. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Now what's happening?
It's like it's like I heard an earthquake in my head and then I just yawned it out.
Good. Say the gates are almost open. Can you say hello to me now?
The gates are open. Can you say hello to me now? Just doing it again.
Say complete opening the gates.
Complete opening the gates.
And say fear.
Fear.
I'm breaking up with you.
I'm breaking up with you. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's okay. You're going to cry a little bit. It's normal. Fear's been for quite some time, my dear. You guys have a deep relationship that now is no longer.
Oh my God. This part of it is fighting, but it can't help it. It's like releasing it.
No, it's not fighting. That's just what you think it is, because that's what you think it would do. That's what humans would usually think. Humans like to believe that something would fight them, but that's not how it works in the spirit world, my dear.
Oh my God. Wow.
Say fear, you can go to the light now. You've completed.
Fear, you can go to the light now. You've completed. Wow. Oh my God. Thank you. Wow. Thank you for that. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, I understand. You're welcome. It's a pleasure to serve you. Now say, spirit guides, are you with me?
Spirit guides, are you with me? Yeah.
You heard that? You hear that?
Yeah.
Say thank you. I heard you.
Thank you. I heard you.
Are you happy that you can talk to me now?
Are you happy that you can talk to me now? Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. Wow.
See, isn't it nice when you can talk to the guides? You don't have people always think there's a ringing in my ear. I'm like, yeah, the ringing in your ear, darling, is because the gates are trying to open and you keep trying to close them.
Oh my God. And it's like a circle, like a ring of them. That's what's so ironic about the ring. It's like a ring of them.
Of course. They're council members. Like when you see Star Wars and you see them all sitting in the council, that's what it's like in the spirit world.
Shaman Durek, thank you. Oh my God. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that. And it's crazy because I came on here and everything that I've been really dealing with, I have not been on Clubhouse for a while, and it just clicked on this room. And I've seen you in a few other rooms, a few weeks ago, days ago, and I was just, but this particular one, and it was just almost like a calling.
Now check your back and check your upper back and tell me how it feels.
You're kidding me right now.
Oh no, but I'm not.
My God. What?
Yeah.
What?
This is fucking crazy.
It's like magic. What? I've been dealing with this pain for like months at a time now. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I do, but oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, Ashe.
Oh my God.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Shaman Durek and I'm done speaking. Love you.
So I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Also, quickly, before we sign off, I wanted to remind you to download the Golden Key, audio or ebook, as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the code POSITIVEHEAD. I also wanted to remind you that I will now be doing a live Q&A every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time on the new social audio app Clubhouse. I have really been wanting to connect and interact with all of you more for quite some time, and I'm super excited to now have 2 new ways to do it. First, if you're already on Clubhouse, be sure to follow me and click the little bell on my profile and select to always be notified when I go live on the Clubhouse app. And if you'd like to connect on an even more intimate Zoom gathering once a month, now you can do that too by registering at goldenkey.gift.